Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining for the next episode of Beyond the Screen. Today we have Nayip Anthony Garcia, aka Nayip Ramos, who is a Puerto Rican, Los Angeles based director known for his eye catching, visually creative concepts, millennial approved music videos, and consistent career launching results. He's unearthing talent in young adults and introducing them to the world through uniquely personalized visuals, has led Nayip to launch careers of Johnny Orlando, Mackenzie Ziegler, Jordyn Jones, Forever in Your Mind, the Brooklyn and Bailey twins, Carson Leuders, Ruby Rose Turner, and countless more. Nayip has also partnered with some of today's top artists, including Tim McGraw, Camila Cabello, Sophia Carson, Jordan Fisher, Alessia Cara, and more. So Nayip's keen knowledge of youth culture's beating pulse provided a natural transition to scripted youth-based content. Nayip directed children's streaming shows Season 3 of Chicken Girls and Season 1 of Baby Doll Records. His short film Alan garnered attention from Lionsgate and Black Pills, and Nayip is now focusing his career on feature films. His first is Almost Popular, currently in post-production. Thank you so much for joining me, and here's the episode. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Beyond the Screen. Today, I have Nayip Ramos, who's a Puerto Rican, Los Angeles-based director who is currently focusing on feature films with his first project, Almost Popular, currently in post-production. Nayip, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Sierra. Wait, it's Sierra on here.
No, it's Kira.
Why is it spelled Sierra on here?
Okay, so the way you've seen my name is a fake spelling. I actually spell it like this. This is the legal way.
Oh, okay.
But it's spelled in like the Irish language, so it's Kira. But it's just
I can't look at your name because I'm such a visual. Like, I literally remember people by their Instagram handles. I'm like, oh, that's X414 Sarah or something like that. Like, because I'm such a visual person. So now I'm just gonna look at your name and want to say Sierra the whole time, even though I know your name is Kira.
Yeah, it's Kira. So Kira is that spelling is my professional spelling.
Okay. Hey, we're all going through name changes.
I know.
So yeah, what's going on?
Hi. Well, I kind of just wanted to know a little bit more about you and your career. So I was just wondering what initially drew you into the entertainment industry. Did you always want to be a director or?
Okay, so gosh, I'll do the fast version. I grew up in front of the TV. It was like my best friend because my mother was very young when she had me. So as she went through the trials and tribulations of her life, I found the TV to be like a safe space and a home for me. So I would end up watching things that I had no business watching. I would, my mom would take me to movies with her on her dates, and I would see like an interview with a vampire, and she'd be like covering my face. So like,
I have very similar stories.
So like I was watching Cocktail with Tom Cruise at like 6. I was watching just whatever the adults had to watch. It wasn't a lot of kid material. So as we moved around a lot, the TV became my best friend. So a lot of my childhood, which sadly was in front of a TV, just because there was so much drama and trauma going around, that it was a nice place for me to get into. So from that, I grew this like really passionate love for Hollywood and movies. And I've eventually, my grandmother moved me and my mother from New York to San Diego. And as I got older, I was told I have a similar story like your mother. I came to LA like thinking I was going to be the next, I don't know, Michael Cera, and I didn't look like the Michael Cera, I kept going out for Spanish roles, and I could barely speak Spanish because I was kind of raised by a community, like different people, so I didn't really have a strong grasp on my like Latino side because I was raised by so many different people, Black people, Hispanic people, white people. A lot of people pitched in to help raise me. And as I got older, just Spanish kind of left me. So I was going for these auditions and stuff, and I just had no shot because my Spanish was terrible. But before then, people would tell me like, "Oh, you got to go to Hollywood," and that was my dream. Like my goal was to go to LA, and like be Jim Carrey, Michael Cera, one of these big comedian guys. And it just didn't work out for me. I ended up going to film school. I saved up a bunch of my money, went to film school, ended up homeless, sleeping in my car, sleeping on friends' couches, really grinding out. But I was so embarrassed that I had not done anything that I kept it to myself and was struggling the whole time I had moved out here, because I could not go back, even though it was only a couple hours away. I could not go back to San Diego with my tail tucked between my legs saying like, oh, it didn't happen for me. Like, I refused to let that be my story. So I stuck it out and and I went through a lot of different things in LA. LA really tested me. I started working behind the camera as a PA, making like $75, $100 for like 16 hours, just whatever I could. And I was like, man, I really love being behind the camera. I'm super opinionated. Anytime I was on set, I had something to say. I was an annoying guy who just was like, who is this guy? Tell him to stop. Like, I kept my, I respected the people on the set, but I always was like, oh, I would do this, I would do that. So I talked a friend into putting some money in to do a project. And then another friend had someone in the music industry, and they reached out to me to do a music video. And I just started reaching out to people, and I started directing kid content, like kid music videos. And a couple of them went viral. And that just started getting the calls, and it kind of happened, like it definitely didn't happen fast. I really feel like I've had the longest route to any kind of mediocre success, but I've been out here for 16 years. And yeah, that's kind of how it happened in a very fast way, even though I felt like I talked for a very long time.
No, that's okay. That's your whole point is for you to talk. Yeah. And so like so you just did your first like feature, like a scripted feature, correct?
Yeah, I've done scripted content before. I did something and it kind of fell apart. And then to tap into, me as a person, I was going through a lot of things, and I decided to like kind of change who I was and what I was about, and kind of clean up my act. I got sober, and I stopped drinking, and I stopped doing the things that weren't helping my career, to be honest. So the first thing that fell in front of me was this movie. At the time, it was called something different, and I met basically my creative partner, Pam, and that's got him sat down, and me and Pam worked on that film for like 6-7 months, and then I finally was like, okay, let me reach out to Grace, who's been a fan of mine and who actually booked me for this interview. This is NPR, right?
Exactly.
Okay, right. She said you had a reach as big as Joe Rogan or something like that. So yeah, your Grace put in a lot of work and helped get this made, and it took I think it took like a year and a half before we were shooting, and then it took like a year of post, and we're done. We're wrapped up. Well, my job is done now. Everyone else's job is kind of kicking in, but I'm really happy with it. I really got to call a lot of friends who were a part of my journey as I try to climb up this Hollywood ladder. So Ruby, my lead actress, I've known her since she was 7-8 years old. So it was, it felt like family. A lot of the kids I've known since they were young, they felt like family. A lot of the people I called in to help me with favors, they became my family. And it was a very emotional experience for me, because I had worked so hard to get here, and it wasn't just another movie for me. Sometimes people get on set and they're like, all right, let's clock in and clock out. But sometimes you have to be that crazy person who's like, can we make this better? And I mean, you were there. I think you saw a grown man cry multiple times.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't say cried yet. I saw the you hit the wall.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing I ever did because um, I'm kind of in a sprinting sport, right? I do a lot of music video, I do a lot of short form content, and that's a sprint. It's like you go hard for 14, 15, 16 hours and you get it done. You
Right.
can't do a movie like that. Um, you can't go 1,000% through the duration because you'll burn yourself out and other people will pay. You lose your cool, and I definitely lost my cool. Um, and it's just you have to learn a new muscle. So I
Mhm.
learned, like, I was like, some days I'm gonna rely on my crew, my DP, Ava, to help carry us, and then some days um, I relied on my actors to carry us, and these were young actors that, man, like
Mhm.
um, they didn't have a lot of takes, they didn't have a lot of time, we didn't have a lot of prep, but they had a lot of passion, and that will always succeed anything else if you're passionate about what you're doing. And no one will ever say I'm not passionate. So even though I lost my mind and I lost my temper, it all came from a place of passion and love and responsibility. Some people gave me money to make a movie, you know,
Right.
and these people are now my friends, but I owe it to them to push. And so, yeah, I did have a few breaking points during that film, but I love it. I love it. I love that I did. Not that I love that I did, but I love that I got to experience that, and
Mhm.
it changed me. It really, that movie changed me, and I worked with a lot of people that I respected and admire. So, um, yeah, it was a good process. It was a good learning. I learned so much, and I think I was
Very
never ready to direct a film until this film came. Um,
good. Wow.
yeah, I think in my head I thought I was ready.
Mhm.
I think I thought I was talented enough or creative enough, but until I have failed so much trying to make other movies and doing other things, I then knew, I was like, oh, you have to do so much more than what I've done in the past. Like
Mhm.
I have to, you have to literally kill yourself to make anything halfway decent. Even bad, even making something bad is hard. You know,
Yeah.
it's not easy.
Very cool. And so, like, as a director, you talk about like working with DP Ava. Do you get to choose who is on the crew on the set, or is that like more something produced, or do you have a say in who is on set with you?
I usually have a say. I'm very passionate about giving people opportunities. I'm more the way I did this movie differently. I Instead
Mhm.
of just hiring friends or people that I worked with a lot, I said, who have I worked with that would be, excuse me, that was bad. I said, who have I worked with um that fits what this movie is about. So I ended
Mhm.
up with a lot of crew that was female, and uh, it was kind of like, how do I say this? To have that many talented women around you, it's going to change you. It's going to change the way you move. It's going to change the way you see how sets work when they're half. We were a real diverse set, as far as, like,
Yeah.
there was a lot of women on that set, and there was a lot of minorities, and there was Effie Brown once famously said, casting happens behind the camera. And it was really important for me that because my movie is predominantly female cast, it was
Mhm.
important for me, for them, my cast, to look past the camera and see people that they resonated with, see a strong female leadership, because I wanted that to rub off on them. I wanted them to leave, and I told Ruby, when I talked her into doing our movie, I told her mom, I was like, she'll leave a better actress, she'll leave a better person, even if the movie sucks. Like, that
Yeah.
was my, like, I'm gonna surround them with people who are gonna to lift them. And you know, I was really proud of that. I'm really proud of what we casted behind the camera as well, and
Yeah.
in front.
Me too, because when I was on set, I was surprised too because I've worked on like a couple other sets, and that was probably the most diverse set I've been on, which is kind of like what my whole podcast is about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about like how, I mean, I had discovered that in I don't know if you know this, in 2020 the UCLA diversity report,
Mm-hmm.
that only 14.4% of directors were people of color. I mean, 2% were Latino, and so it was like going into that and like going into crews, and it was 77.4% white for just crews in general. And so I think it was very nice to see like coming up on your set. And I was like, was there such a big, did you feel as if there was a difference working on this more diverse set versus like a more predominantly white crew or set that you have before?
I've worked with, I've been the only brown guy on set. I've been surrounded. I've, I think, as a man, I probably don't notice it as much, but I did notice. I noticed. I noticed kind of some of the uphill battles that women have to deal with when they work on set. Because I was, I had to see some of it and be like, what is going on, but the difference is, and I learned, is I was looking for the best person for the job. And I think a lot of the times when I speak, it might sound like, oh, I was just hiring women. No, these were the best people for their job, and they happened to be women. But it was important to me that in the back of my mind, I was like, I need women on the set because, one, they're gonna understand what the hell this movie's about. They're gonna
Yeah.
my crew is all, my cast is so female driven that I just think we'll get a little bit more honesty when they see what's around them. And Ava was a big part of that. Ava's a DP, and she got that because she was willing to sit by me and map out all these ridiculous shots. A month before the shoot, or excuse me, a couple weeks before the shoot, she was willing to do that. Every person who was on that set was willing to go the extra mile. And I think when you're a minority or you're a woman, you kind of have to show your worth, because it's like, I know Bob, who's great, and I'm like, no, but
Yeah.
I got Sarah here. She's just as phenomenal, and she's gonna work twice as hard.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give an opportunity to people who I felt don't necessarily get the opportunity, because I haven't gotten those opportunities. I didn't know anyone in Hollywood. I don't have an uncle who is a producer, let alone a PA. Like, I knew no one in the industry. That's probably why it took me so long to even make a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said how you like have made a conscious effort to try and bring more people of color, minority, and women into your crew and cast. Is that something you've always been wanting to do, or is it something more in like recent years?
No, I'm gonna, like, honesty is the best policy. About um I never really thought about it. Well, early in my career, I felt like I was passed on for other, people who might not look like me.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to harp on that. I didn't want that. I didn't want to let that be the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want that to be my excuse, which it is a valid excuse. It is a valid reason. But I was like, I had to like fight through that. And, I probably did lose jobs to people that people were more comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. It didn't really strike me um till later on in my career, when I started working with more and more people. I get, because sometimes when I cast a few department heads and then they hire out people,
Right.
so sometimes I get to set and I'm like, ugh, I'm like, damn, there's like, we all look the same here. Like, there's no mixture here, and it kind of bums me out. So I think as I've moved forward and able to get bigger budgets and stuff like that, I'm able to be a little bit more hand selective of who I want, because I have expensive taste. I like people who are great at their job,
Yeah.
and a lot of the the women who worked in my film are like top dogs. They just hadn't worked in film yet. They've worked in music videos and
Mm-hmm.
other things like that. But they deserve what they deserve. So it's hard to get the people you want unless you have the budget, and it's hard to. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's sometimes hard to be diverse, because you're trying to come under a budget.
Mhm.
So part of what I did in the film was like I knew I needed the right surrounding pieces for the cast to be as strong as there were, and I'm happy because if you hate the movie, you can't say that the kids weren't acting their asses off.
Right.
And I think that's attributes to the fact that we had like a real we had like a real soft, like almost like a motherly feel when you came onto the set sometimes.
Mhm.
Like there was just a lot of great people on there, that just so happened to be women who kicked ass at their job.
Awesome. That's so cool.
But yes, I'm trying to do better at that, as
Yeah.
as someone. And even me now, like after I did Almost Popular, I was like, it's going to be, I want it to be a thing where at least one of my leads in my ensemble is a Latin person, because I know how hard it was to want to play those roles. Like, want to be Jonah Hill or Michael Cera or like a Seth Rogen, but it's usually always cast as like, those types of guys.
Mhm.
So I was really happy that we got Isabella Ferreira in the movie,
Mhm.
who's a Hispanic, or Latino actress, um, or actor, excuse me. Um, and she was one of my leads, and I was like, okay, like I have someone that that I feel like
Yeah.
I'm like, this is my girl, this is my people. Like I'm helping her out, and Ruby was fam, and we booked Reed, and just the whole cast was amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. And like going forward, because I think especially what I'm trying to do is bring conversations about how to get more people of color in this space. Um,
Mhm.
besides, like, what do you think a solution could be? Is besides just like because you personally are striving for it, but do you think it should be more conversations, more of execs actually trying to push for it, or
I don't
yeah,
know,
that's a
you
question.
know. Uh, um, I think if we all do a little bit of our part, it'll change. You're not gonna. It's hard to change the monarchy, right? Is that the right
Yeah,
term? You
I,
went to
I
college. You're going to school. um, I barely graduated high school.
get
So it's hard to change all that, and people are comfortit with people that look like them and probably are raised by them, and I'm comfortable, and I don't really necessarily need to. I'm a chameleon. I've grown around so many different people,
yeah.
but it starts with me. Like I got to give opportunity to people, and as I get there, I really try. I just did another project, like a little TV show for girls, um, and it was really important to me again because I was like, I gotta. These young women are talking about things that are really important to them, and I don't want them to look over and see like a 45-year-old guy
Yeah.
holding a camera. I want them to see probably like a young woman. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm in a safe space to really open up and feel how I feel. So if it, part of my job is to find the people who will make the best product, and that's how I try to cast behind, and I try to help as many people as possible. I mean, a lot of people text and DM me, and I try to find them opportunity, even if it's not with me, because I know
Mhm.
how hard it is when you're trying to reach out to people and there's no one's helping.
Yeah.
Even me now, I'm like, oh, I need, and I still, people got their own shit going on.
Mm.
But to go back to your question, the best way is to create with people that you want to create with, find that group of people, and work with the people that you think deserve to be there. And look, making movies is hard, and it's even harder um when you're putting up your beliefs and stuff. Like, no,
Mhm.
I want it this way. That it's hard because you're gonna have everyone telling you differently. So I think if if we all did our part, it will slowly start to change. And when I walk on sets now and I see sets now, I see a ton of women, I see a ton of people of color. And I when I first started, I was like the young Latino director, but and surrounded by the usual suspects on a set.
Right.
Did I answer your question?
You did. Thank you so much.
Okay. So
That was perfect. Honestly, I think that's like a really good like way to wrap this up.
are
Yeah,
we done already?
it's already been like half an hour.
See, I talk so much
No,
that
that's perfect. That's what I need.
but before we go, let's talk about who's behind you here.
Oh, you had to call me out. Um,
Yes, well, you don't do an interview, and you got a wanted poster on there. That could be my photo under that. Um,
so
whoever the K-pop stands here.
yeah, this is BTS. It's all the members,
Okay,
all of their like solo projects because if they got into military, they've all come out with solo projects, and so it's
okay. Love that big.
and then there's Baby Yoda.
I'm a big Baby Yoda. Need that. Okay. Oh, he's wanted. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay, I love K-pop. I use it as a reference for a lot of music
really.
videos.
Yeah, I mean the music videos are amazing.
Yeah,
Like it's crazy. Like I don't see a lot like it.
yeah, they're actually getting American influence now. Like I'm starting
Hmm.
to see a lot of American influence in K-pop videos, like the more gritty, a little bit
Yeah,
more um just a way a lot of younger American DPs shoot. So but yeah, I follow a lot of K-pop stuff.
yeah.
Do you want to start your own podcast? Is that your dream?
Um.
Or you just this is like, yeah, I need 5 credits for my class, so
Okay, so sorry to my professor listening to this. It started out as that. Was like
uh-huh.
I don't know, but being able to reach out and talk to more, especially because I chose something which I'm passionate about, which is movies and
Mhm.
filmmaking and stuff like that. And so finding a project, it got me much more interested. And so I kind of am excited for these kind of interviews. Um, so I don't know if I will continue with like a huge podcast. But I do
Mhm.
think having these conversations has been like really, really great. Um,
What did you learn from working on Almost Popular?
what did I learn from working on Almost Popular?
Now, I'm gonna flip this on you
Wow,
before I
I'm
get out of
remembering
here.
now. Um, honestly, okay.
Be honest,
Almost
you're like, yeah, I learned that I don't want to be on a set like that anymore.
No, that's actually it's the total opposite. I learned that I did want to be on a set like that because I had been on sets where I had felt a little on edge or stressed, especially because I was just in as an intern and I always felt like
Hmm.
so out of place. Um, but being on Almost Popular, it was nice, and it's also because I've been connected to this project since it was like first like writing drafts. Like I did the original
Hmm.
script coverage for it,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So from original script coverage to like seeing the casting and like seeing this was like a project where I saw from like beginning to end. Um, it kind of it is the one that really confirmed that this is what I want to do. That like
Awesome.
yeah, that whether that be like from writing because I have started writing my own stuff now to acting and to directing because I have interest in that. So I think being on Almost Popular really I was still kind of like, do I want to like this is going to be a tough industry to go on? Do I want to go and being connected to this project is what made me be like, yep, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, and I'll leave it. Yeah, it's a tough industry, right? But if you want to be great at anything, it's tough.
Yeah,
So why not put that effort into something that you're passionate about? And yeah, it is an endless mountain, but you're doing the right stuff, and you have a lot of the answers to your own questions. You're going to be a filmmaker. You're going to be in charge of putting people around you.
yeah,
Um, so it's if we keep inspiring young filmmakers like yourself, who are women and who are diverse, then slowly but surely the industry will change. It is a very tough cycle to change.
mhm,
I learned that it was a club to get into movies.
yeah,
Like, and it's not an easy club to get
no,
into. um so yeah, you should be proud of yourself, and I'm excited
yeah.
to see what you do with your writing. But I had a great time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was late.
No,
Inappropriate. My manager told me,
I'm
Grace
on,
Santos told
yeah,
me
it's a 140.
10:45.
Yeah,
So I was actually on time.
yeah.
But yeah, it was great talking to you, and I will see you soon.